Welcome to the Paintbrush Prairie podcast. I'm Kinsey Ashcraft, a boutique owner, firefighter wife, and mama of 2 cowgirls, homesteading on a cattle ranch in Oklahoma.
And I'm Talia Watcott, a Western artist and illustrator, mama of 2, and wife of a mountain man, raising babies in the mountains of Utah.
Together, we share a passion for the Western lifestyle, homemaking, and Indian paintbrush flowers.
We're here to inspire and encourage you as we each create a simple but beautiful life on the prairie. All right, welcome back to the Paintbrush Prairie podcast. We haven't really talked about what's going on with us lately.
Yeah.
Have you had a good fall, or is it just stressful?
Well, I love fall. We were supposed to go on a family trip. By the time you hear this, it'll be like a month later. But as of now, we were supposed to go on a family trip to see family last week, and it got canceled due to illness. So hopefully we'll get to try again late November. But it's kind of timely for what we're going to be talking about today. But other than that, we're doing good. The weather's cooling off, and I don't love it, but it is what it is. But it's making me kind of want to hole up and hibernate. I'm already freezing, so it's going to be a long winter.
Yeah, we were both talking about how freezing cold we are, and it's not even cold yet.
It's only 48.
I have started to wear my fuzzy slippers again. So,
Yeah.
I don't wear them in the summertime, but they're leather and they have shearling, but I live in them during this time of year, and hoodies and sweatshirts and sweaters. Can't even be in my own house because we live in a 1930s house, and almost all of the windows are original. So they're the old single pane windows, and they're so drafty. And so our rooms are just freezing cold all the time. And we got an old wood burning stove passed down to us, and we've been considering it because we have a fireplace, but it's a floor level fireplace, and that scares me to death because of my little 2-year-old running around. But if Cody can put the wood stove in the fireplace place, and then we put a little gate around it, I think I could do that. I just miss because when we lived at my parents' property, we lived in the barn apartment. So it was we built an apartment above the barn, and they had a pellet stove to heat that. And so I got used to always having that warmth from the stove, and the always having the glow of the pellet stove going during the winter, and it was so cozy. And that is what I miss the most about this house, is just not having a firelight glow during the winter, and the warmth that you can get from just oh man, I'm cold, I'm just gonna go sit right next to this thing and heat up. So, but I have a space heater. So it kind of makes up for it. Yeah. So we've been dealing with my dog that is crippled.
Poor Copper. Poor Copper.
We have a dachshund. She's 9, so she's getting up there, but she's still she's still a spring chicken, really, in her personality. But she just woke up one day. I don't know if she really woke up. We woke up and she was like this. And so we're not sure if she jumped off the couch in the middle of the night and hurt herself, or if this injury just I don't want to use this pun or the straw that broke the camel's back, because her back's not broken. But she had some pain before the whole incident, but we were I don't know, maybe it's her back, maybe it's internal. We are not sure where she's having pain, but she was just kind of being really sad for a few days, acting like she was hurting, but we couldn't identify it. And then she was fine. She perked up for like 4 days, no pain, totally fine, acting normal, running all over the house, being normal dachshund crazy. And then just out of the blue, the next day, she can't even walk. So she can stand on her front legs, then she's like dragging her back legs and can't stand on them, can't put any weight on them, and she's just like whining and trying to go hide. So I called like 10 vets to get her in that day, and I was finally able to get her in, and they took x-rays, and she has a ruptured disc in her back. So that's what was like pinching her spinal cord, so she can't walk. And so the vet was basically like, well, she has to be on bed rest for 8 weeks, and she can't, like, you put her in a crate and she can't, leave it. She has to be on like good footing and no kids, like nothing. So we have her in a very small little corner of our kitchen, locked up, and it's the saddest thing ever. She's like so sad, and she always is like looking at me like, "Why am I locked in here?" But and she's on medication, like pain medication and ibuprofen for dogs, and so like her personality is getting back to normal. She didn't eat for like 2 days, and I couldn't get her to go to the bathroom. Like, it was just nightmare, but she's finally starting to get back to normal. And I mean, as far as her personality, physically, she is still in the same shape. Like, she can't walk on her own, so when I take her outside, I have to like carry her bum while she walks with her front legs. And Cody's like, I'm gonna make her a wheelchair. I'm like, all right. He's like drawing up this design for like her doggy wheelchair.
He might be onto something.
Oh my gosh. He said apparently, and I've never looked, but he said you can like buy them on Amazon. I'm like, holy crap, this is like a thing apparently. But it's been stressful. It's kind of like having a baby again, but
yeah,
also kind of not, because she just sits in there. But when it comes to the bathroom, I have to pretend like I have a baby again. So, and it makes me laugh because I just got Briggs potty trained. So Briggs is like doing awesome. He's like totally good. He has like some accidents every now and then, but he's not even 2.5. So I'm like pretty jazzed.
Yeah, that's really good.
And he's like, he loves it. Yeah. Finally got him potty trained, and now I have to do the bathroom breaks with the dog, but it's okay. She'll get better, we're hoping. And supposedly after so long, it should heal and stop pinching her spinal cord. But I've heard some good success stories.
So you have to go back in 8 weeks. What did he say if it's not healed?
So she has a checkup in like 2 weeks, and he's gonna like assess then, and hopefully if he's seeing improvement, then we just kind of stay on the same road. And then I've heard of dogs with this specific injury that have to get surgery. He didn't say anything about surgery, and he didn't really say like, if it doesn't work, we're going to do this. He was just like, I think he's assuming that it will work. He didn't really give me any other options. So we'll see. Everyone that I've talked to, their dachshunds have healed just fine. It just takes a long time. So, and she seems to be doing a little bit better with controlling her legs. I mean, she still can't stand on them, and she can't move, like she can't position her feet, but like she's starting to like, I can see that there's a little bit more muscle control in her legs, just slightly. So that's hopeful. So anyway, that's been real fun. Along with everything else that's going on right now.
That's what I was about to say, as if you don't have anything else to do.
Yeah, that's fine. But overall, I've been happy with the weather. It's been a nice fall, not too rainy, not too
Yeah. I just wish it would stay how it's been for a little bit longer, like at least through November. Because it's never long enough for me, the fall weather.
Yeah. Snow can stay away until it's like Christmas time, right?
Yes. Yeah. Then it can go away, but it doesn't. It gets worse, and then we get ice.
I know. Yeah. Do you guys have like the really, really scary ice storms in Oklahoma?
Yeah. So, usually our winters are like really wet, and the worst of it is like February. That's usually when we get like the horrible like ice storms, and yeah, we don't get like the really pretty like, and sometimes we get pretty snow, rarely, but like typical places like Colorado, mountains and stuff, we get the ice, and it's wet and it's slick and it's scary and black ice, and you don't want to be on the road. And I don't know why we don't get snow in winter, like where we live, often enough for us to be like really prepared, like other states and stuff are, especially our town. So when we do get that kind of weather, everyone panics, and there's lots of wrecks. Like Zach's working like crazy because it's just wreck after wreck after wreck. And they're just not set up for that kind of weather. And it's, Oklahoma's always hit and miss. Like we may have a really mild winter where we don't need anything, or we may have a really bad winter, like a really bad spell of that stuff. So you just never know. And I guess they just haven't felt like it was worth, getting everything set up for that. So anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're known for our snow in Utah. Like it's the really good powder, right, for skiing. So I don't know. There was quite a few years there where we didn't get hardly any snow, and it was just like miserable and drab, like cold but dry, and that's like my least favorite. I absolutely cannot stand that when it's just cold and dry. But I will say that I'm glad that we don't have the ice issues.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, obviously we still have like ice, and especially like going through canyons and stuff, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah,
as
like
what you guys have.
Like it'll sleet a lot. So we may get like one or two good snows maybe a year where like the kids can play and go make snowmen and all of that, but it's just usually like kind of wet and yucky, and I don't know. I'm just not a fan of winter anyway, so I think even if we did have lots of snow and stuff, it just wouldn't be my favorite. So
yeah. All right. Well, today's episode is, getting ready for that fun winter season that we're talking about.
yes, so we're going to be talking about preparing our homes for kind of the cold and flu and sick season, but kind of just building your own medicine cabinet, like building a stockpile of good things to have on hand, natural remedies, things that you can make yourself, things that you can reach for when you typically would go to the doctor, that you can actually have on hand at home that work just as good, if not better. So, and these are just things that we've both learned from being mamas for several years now, things that we've been taught. I've learned a lot of these things from my friends, from my grandmother, my mom, just a general search, Pinterest. So we just wanted to put this out there as the seasons are changing. I don't know if you can interpret this from the sound, but like I'm stuffy right now. Every time seasons change, my allergies kind of kick up a little bit. So just sharing some things that have helped us along the way and might help you too.
All right. So just to like get us started, what are some things that you have used to kind of like keep your family healthy, like preventative, like we can get into more of like the healing things in a second, but like what are kind of some things that you do to just like maintain your health in the winter and the health of your family?
Well, I mean, kind of your general supplements, like your vitamins, vitamin C. But I also use a product, and I know the essential oil community is like kind of divisive. So take this with a grain of salt. If you like a different company, that's fine. This is just what I use. But I actually am, I sell with this company with doTERRA, and I use a product called On Guard, and it is phenomenal. It is such a good product. They have it in an oil. They have several different products in this On Guard line. But I love their protective blend soft gels, and it promotes building that immunity. It also, like, this week I have taken it instead of like reaching for like an Allegra or something. I've been taking like a few of these a couple times a day. But it has like black pepper, oregano, and Melissa in them, and it's just like in a little veggie capsule that I take, and I feel like it does wonders for our family. We take it even when we're not sick, just as like a preventative. So that is one thing that we use, and I keep it stocked in our medicine cabinet. My friend, I'm actually under her, and she got me hooked on this stuff, and it's wonderful. I love the On Guard, and I highly recommend. And it's safe for your kids to take too, so our whole family can use it.
So, we use the On Guard, like I'll do it in like my kids' baths, like the
Yes.
oil.
Mm-hmm.
And then when my kids are sick, I'll like roll it on the bottom of their feet and like put it behind their ear.
Diffuse it.
But I didn't know they had the soft gels, so I'm gonna have to get some of those because
Yeah, the soft gel. Like I always have at least 3 bottles on my shelf. It's
yeah.
something that like I'll keep on my monthly order. And they also have come out with, I mean, it's not super new, but they have come out with the throat lozenges. So when we have like a sore throat, I'll also have those on hand. They have some with the Breathe line too to kind of help open up your sinuses. But they also have the throat lozenges for the On Guard. So I have those, and I think they taste great. But I always have a bag of those too. But yeah, and another preventative thing is elderberry. And I actually have a friend, Courtney. She makes her own, and I need to have her teach me. But I've had some of hers, and it's wonderful. But elderberry is a really big thing that we take for like preventative, but also when we're just sick.
So I never have told you this, but I live like 5 minutes away from doTERRA headquarters.
Okay. I've noticed that though. When I didn't know you lived that close, but like
Yeah.
I've noticed on the box like where it comes from and like where they're based out of. I feel like there's lots of things where you live, like lots of companies.
Yeah, there's a lot of big ones, but we're kind of in a little hub of like startups and businesses like that. Young Living too is from our area, so
yeah,
that's the other big brand. But anyway, Cody's brother actually works at doTERRA.
Oh, cool.
He does like the maintenance for their facilities.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets us a lot of stuff from them just because he works there. So Cody was taking like some of their like multivitamins or something for a while, but he really liked them. So
yeah, we use lots of their products just everyday stuff. They have like it's called a Breathe. It's their Breathe line, but their Breathe stick. I always have one of those like in our medicine cabinet, but I have one in my purse too. Just like I've been using it, just rubbing it on to help open me up. And another line that they have that we'll talk about in a little bit, but it's called Deep Blue, and I swear by that stuff. They used to have it in like a cream, but now they have it in a stick, and like I guess because we're getting older, but like we always have like little aches and pains, and you just rub it on, and it does wonders, and it's awesome. But I love several of their things, and like I said, there's so many companies, like, to each their own, but it's just something that's worked for us personally, and I truly love their stuff. Like, it's made such a difference in our health and wellness. And I highly recommend the On Guard, though, for especially for, like, if you are sick, but also for preventative.
Was there anything else that you guys do like on a regular basis to just like, do you guys diffuse oil? Because I know like a lot of people will do like a certain blend that's like an immune blend or anything like that.
Yeah, so like I said, I even just diffuse the On Guard oil, but there's depending on what's going on, there are so many blends that you can blend in the house. And I always have oils going just to make my house smell better. And to kind of like, I still love a good candle, but I have tried to eliminate most of that in the house, like artificial fragrance and all of that. So, and that's taken me a while. Still will burn a candle every now and then, but I usually always have like a diffuser going with some kind of smell.
Yeah. That's going to be a hard one for me.
It is hard.
I love candles.
I just, not even for the smell, just they're just cozy.
Yeah.
Well, and like I sell candles in the shop, so.
Right. Well,
But
and not all candles are bad, but
no,
it's harder
no.
to find pure beeswax that actually smell good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I'll still do it every now and then. Like I said, like I'm not full blown crunchy, but I do try to make healthier swaps and make healthier choices, but I still love different, the not so healthy every now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah, another thing is like taking like good probiotics, digestive enzymes, like those are all things that I'm still like learning more and more about, but just kind of trying to implement those things more and more and more and making it part of your daily routine, I feel like helps so much with your staying healthy and staying well and your immunity.
So when it comes to probiotics, do you do like the probiotics that you like refrigerate and all that, like the real kind?
I'm not there yet. No.
Yeah, like because I know I'm like I really need to start taking them. Like, I mean, just for like overall health.
Yeah.
And I do think it would help Cody a lot, but I'm just like, I always go to buy them. I'm like, oh, I can't. Like that's like, so expensive.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. It's like it's so frustrating. It's just the whole culture we're living in is just, it's so expensive to be healthy. And so it's just so much easier to choose the not so healthy things because it's cheaper. And that's why they do it. So, but as far as like building a medicine cabinet and like trying to incorporate a lot of these things, like the main thing I would suggest to keep in mind is just to start slow because it is expensive. Like there's no way that when I was starting, like I could swap every single thing out. Like, okay, we're going to trash all of the fever medications and allergy medicines and all of that because then we wouldn't have anything. But just start slow. Like I would address your minor concerns first, like the things that are going to pop up more often. So especially if you have kiddos. So like scraped knees, like bumps, bruises, things like that, cuts, your colds, fevers, sore throats, things like that. So address those first because you're going to probably have to address those more often, and swap those products out for better things. And then keep building to it. And also like do your research, like research remedies, find some really good books, like book suggestions. We'll put in the show notes for you, that are really reputable, that are good sources that you can learn on how to make your own remedies and just kind of take notes of the things that they use and put it on your list of things to get and try to just get, 1 to 2 things a month. And you're probably not going to use them for a little bit. So it's easy to build that way if you're not constantly going through it. Yeah, I would just definitely recommend when you are starting this new journey of trying to just to build your medicine cabinet, but also have better choices, is just to start slow.
Well, and I feel like that applies to like overall trying to be healthier and live, I guess you could say, I don't really like using this term because I don't know, but like a non-toxic, like what a lot of people call a non-toxic lifestyle, like let's be real. Everything has some kind of toxins in it. Like if you really want to get nitpicky with it, everything is poisonous for us. Like unless we go back to living in pioneer times, everything has poisons, right? But instead of like where I've come across is I've heard a lot of people that are like, I'm so overwhelmed. It just seems like every which way I turn, something is bad for me. And it's like, yeah, that is true to an extent, but you also don't have to go like whole hog right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do what you can with what you can afford and what is like realistic for your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to be perfectionist about it. So I feel the same way with like when it comes to food and when it comes to, you know, we're talking about like medicine and, you know, staying healthy, but just kind of like taking it step by step, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Just simple swaps.
choosing one thing
Yeah.
at a
Yeah.
time.
Just simple swaps. I think we've talked about this in a previous episode, like even in the kitchen, you know, trying to rid yourself of like plastics and things like that and switching to like glass or cast iron. Like you obviously couldn't refurnish your whole kitchen. You know, you would do it a piece.
Right. You can't throw out every
Yes,
appliance.
you would do it a piece at a time. So think about it the same way with your medicine cabinet. And hopefully you won't need a lot of these things urgently. So it's not a big deal to just do a thing at a time. But there are things, like I mentioned earlier, that we use on a daily basis or weekly basis, that we do have to keep stocked. But it took me a while to get to that point where I could do that. So.
All right, guys, it's time for today's review of the week. This review is from Colby T. She says, favorite podcast, my favorite podcast to listen to each week. Two hardworking ladies chasing their dreams and sharing it all with us. I enjoy learning something new each week from Kenzie and Talia. I'm so excited to see where Paintbrush Prairie goes and all the new things to come. Thank you so much, Colby, for leaving us a review. We really, really appreciate your kind words. If you'd like to leave us a review, head over to Apple Podcast and leave us a rating, and make sure to leave us a little note telling us what you think of the podcast. Okay, so I have a question. This has like been trending. I've seen it a lot on like Facebook, but do you do like the garlic honey?
I haven't done the garlic honey, but I've done the garlic oil in my ears for my own self.
Oh, okay.
Because I have like I don't know why, but I get ear infections a lot, and I've gotten ear infections since I was a kid. But I had one. It's been a couple months ago, and it was killing me. And I remembered I had heard from a friend who told me like get some garlic oil because I didn't know anything about it, and she told me to order some. So I got some off Amazon, put it in my ear, and a few hours later, like it helped so much, and my earache was gone. So we buy,
That's
and
awesome.
we'll link that in the show notes too. We'll link lots of things in the show notes for you for this episode, but yeah, it worked wonders, and I didn't have to go to the doctor's office. I didn't have to go get on an antibiotic because I want to obviously avoid those things. I don't want to be on antibiotics. It's terrible. So just little simple swaps, and honestly, it was really cheap. So, but yeah, I've heard about the garlic and honey, but I haven't done that yet. But I've done the garlic oil in your ears, and it does work.
So I really want to try it. It's like I'm on a like homesteading Facebook group, and like everyone gets on. It's like, did I do it right? And they'll show like their jar of garlic honey. So basically what it is, if you don't know, you have like a mason jar, like a big quart mason jar, and you fill it with honey, like I don't know, halfway full or something. And then like 10 or so like full cloves of garlic,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just like let it ferment,
Mm-hmm.
sit, I don't know, like it you let it sit, and then basically the idea is that whenever you're feeling like a cold coming on, you can just take a spoonful of that honey, and it's supposed to be like magic. Like it is supposed to make your cold go away. And I've heard about like garlic for a long, long time
Yeah.
as far as like keeping like colds away. But I've always just done like the garlic pills,
Yeah.
like the capsules. But I thought the honey was interesting.
Well, I mean, like, we always have local honey on hand because that's what I use when the girls have a cough, or we have a cough, because it helps, especially
Right.
when you're trying to sleep and you're coughing. And I just would rather them try that first before we have some kind of cough syrup.
Ugh, I hate cough
Yeah.
syrup.
Well, and now, like,
It's so
I'm
gross.
learning how to like make your own. And I've also found a company that has a really good natural cough syrup. So we'll share that too in a little bit. But I always do like a tablespoonful of honey, and usually it does the trick. At least to kind of get you to sleep. And like especially local honey for wherever you're living is where you want to get it. I'm sure you already know that, but because it's in your area. So it kind of
Right.
is geared towards the allergies that are going on.
So I guess like what are like the, if you are or your girls are like come down with a cold and they're like you're trying to avoid, giving like Mucinex, what would you do instead?
So I always do, I'm always diffusing. So, or if you have a humidifier, like that's a good thing to have in your home. A big thing I like to do if you don't have fresh eucalyptus is the eucalyptus oil. I'll just order that from like doTERRA, and put some drops in their bath or in the shower. Really, it's better in the shower to get it like super steamy and let them breathe that in. And then I'll have them take like elderberry. Oregano is really good because it has antibiotic and antiviral properties in it. So even if you don't know if it's like a virus or a cold, it's not going to hurt them to take that. Our oils are like saving grace a lot. And like I said, the breathe products, because usually when we have a cold, they get so congested. My kids are like prone to the congestion and stuffiness and all of that when a cold hits. So we're trying to like open up those airways. One thing that we all do, it's not super fun, but it works, is those I can't think of the word or the brand, but it's a sinus rinse, and you put that stuff in a bottle and you shoot it up like one nostril and it goes out the other. It's like horrible, but it gets everything out.
Like saline?
No, it's called there's the neti pot too. Like there's that, but it's like
right.
it's like some kind of sinus rinse. It's like a little bottle, and I learned this from my mom because my dad had them. It's from Neil Med, and it's called Sinuflow. It's like a ready rinse, and it's like a little 8-ounce bottle, and you put this packet of stuff in there, and I believe with like some warm water, which you like kind of cleans out your nasal cavity. But it works. It's not super fun. The kids don't love it, but it helps if you're like desperate.
Yeah.
But yeah, those and those like neti pots work. So that's another thing that's good to have on hand. But that's basically what it is. What I'm talking about is a neti pot, but it comes in a little bottle. It's like more convenient.
Right.
Definitely that humidifier, diffuse. We rub like the oils on their feet, down their back, and we can also link like some really good blends, like some cold and allergy or flu blends that you can mix your essential oils and make your own roller bottle with. But yeah, usually 9 times out of 10, all of those natural things do the trick. So you want to try to get it before you get an infection, sinus infection. So
right, it's kind of like you want to get it prevented or like kind of like kick it away before it really turns into something bad where you're like so miserable that you have to turn to the hard stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, and you want to avoid that because once they take that, it strips their good bacteria out of their gut. So then you're just like
Right.
starting from square one again, and it's cold and flu season. So then they're susceptible to everything else that's going on. So,
Right. And I mean, obviously, let's just put our disclaimer in this episode that we are not doctors.
no.
We're just moms. So this is our mom point of view. So if you're really worried about something, go to your doctor. But I rarely go to the doctor ever. I rarely take my kids to the doctor unless it is something where, like, my kids got hand, foot, and mouth last year, and I was just like, I don't even think I took him to the doctor for that, though. I think I just figured out that that's what it was. But, if it's like strep throat or something where it's like, I feel like I can't manage it,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm trying to, mostly it's not that I can't manage it. It's mostly just like, I want to figure out like what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, like, I'm very much like a baby as far as like this like whole like holistic health kind of a thing. So I'm trying to make the little baby steps here and there, to like change the way that we do things. So like essential oils are something that we have started utilizing, but I still have a hard time with like fevers, because when my kid is like 103 fever,
It's scary.
like I don't know. What do
Well,
you what do you do in those cases?
I relate with you there because when our oldest daughter, Paisley, was a year, well, she was an infant, and this whole thing lasted for about a year and a half to almost 2 years, but she would have febrile seizures. And it wasn't always when it was like the pendulum would swing from one end to the other. Like she would either spike a fever really fast, and she would have like a febrile seizure, or she would have a fever and we would give her medication to bring it down, and it would drop too fast and she would go into a seizure. So it was like terrifying for us. And I was a brand new mom. I didn't know anything. And I also, like, the natural holistic culture wasn't like as prevalent as it is now. And like Instagram was still like really young then too, so it's not like you weren't seeing it all the time. So you were just going to like what you knew growing up with. And so I understand like she's grown out of that now. And it only happened a handful of times, but like she was hospitalized for it for a few days, and it was scary for us because we had no idea what was going on. So I still kind of have that in the back of my head, that trauma from all of that. Whereas like when our kids get a fever, it scares me because I'm worried. Because fevers, they're dangerous. But yeah, just trying to get a handle on it, doing the natural things like getting them in a lukewarm bath, like stick to your intuition. And with the disclaimer, I want to say this, like, you are their mom. You know them better than anybody else. And if you do what your heart is telling you, or, what your intuition is saying, like, you feel like you need to go to the doctor, you go to the doctor. Don't, just try to ride it out if you're completely terrified and beside yourself. So I just want to say that too, because when our daughter, when she had her fever, it wasn't even that high. When she went into a febrile seizure, she was at, I think it was 101.9 is what I remember. But it's because it spikes so fast.
Mm-hmm.
So, it doesn't have to be like anything crazy, like 104, 105. It could be that. And we never really figured out what was causing that. But thankfully she grew out of it, but it was very scary. So, and we know some people whose kids have had medical injuries from fever. So definitely want to get a handle on it. Like, we're not saying don't go to the doctor for these things, because every child is different and every situation is different. So
Do what is comfortable for your family. So if your kid has like a 99 or 100, like, you could maybe just keep an eye on it and monitor it. You don't necessarily have to give them the ibuprofen like right off the bat. But
yeah.
I will say that both Kenzie and I have husbands who are like, I don't know what Zach's exact certificates are, but Cody is a paramedic. And so, there are some things where it's like coming from the more medical side,
Mm-hmm.
he is not comfortable, like he wants to make sure things are managed. So you have to do it. Your partner, your significant other is like comfortable with as well when you're doing all of this stuff. So I think that's something to always keep in mind.
Yes. Like I said, just go back to the basics, like put them in a lukewarm bath. There's so many oils, like we won't go into all of them. We'll have this in a blog post for you guys, but there's lots of essential oils that you can use on the kids too to bring their fever down. Strip them of their clothes, even though they're probably shaking and freezing, like just try to bring it down naturally and go from there. But yeah, fevers are probably one of the big things that really scared me just because we have a history with them with our own kids. And that she was also our first baby. As you get deeper into motherhood and you have more kids, or you're just a mom for a lot longer, you learn these things and you learn how to manage these better, especially your emotions that come along with it. So
yeah.
first time moms, and when they're young and little babies, you're just like, you're wanting to go to the doctor for every little thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, second, third, fourth, whatever, however many kids come along, you're like, you're okay. We'll figure it out. So,
well, even just like, I remember when Cheyenne was a baby and she got like her first cold, she was pretty small. Like she was only like 2 months old and she got a cold. And we were just like beside ourselves, like staying up all night, like making sure she's breathing and everything. And I mean, Briggs didn't get a cold until I think he was probably like 10 months or something. But it's just so different because you're just like, you'll be all right. Suck out your nose. That's the other fun thing. If you guys have babies, I mean, I think it's pretty well known now, but like when Cheyenne was little, the nose Frida had just barely come out. And seriously, people were like, you do what?
Those are so much fun.
And so, like, if you don't have one, I think pretty much everyone knows about them these days. But I always do that for baby shower gifts. I always get a nose Frida because that was like my very favorite thing to have with babies, because like the bulb syringes suck and they don't actually they suck. They don't suck. They don't do nearly as good of a job as the nose Frida does. So that's really good for clearing the little babies' noses.
Well, and at least the nose Frida, you can actually get them clean, whereas like the bulbs, I don't feel like you ever get those clean.
No, you can't.
They're
ever
so
get
disgusting.
Them clean. You have to like throw them away and get new ones every so often because you can't really get them clean.
Cut one of those suckers open and see.
Yeah. Gross.
And I will say, like, that was one of my favorite things. We didn't have one when Paisley was a baby, but I had one with Scout, and it was so helpful for us. And I think they've come out with some other products too since then. Like, I know they have the Medifrida, and it's like a pacifier medicine dispenser.
Oh, yeah.
So it like bypasses their taste buds so they don't spit the medicine up as much. So that's helpful, especially if you're like trying to give them like a natural cough syrup or something, you can use that. And then, they have like this, it's called like a 3-in-1 picker, and it like removes like gunk and boogers and stuff like under their nails and noses and stuff. Cause they put that in their mouth. Like they put their hands in their mouth.
Right.
So, yeah, they have lots of cool stuff. They have like an electric nose Frida now where you don't have to do it yourself.
Oh, really?
It's more expensive, but they do it.
That's funny. For all the people that like can't handle it.
Yeah, there are some, they're like gagging. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I can see if it was like not your own kid, but my own kid, I'm like,
oh yeah. Well, plus it's not like it, like there's a filter there, you know?
Yeah, it's going to be okay. Yeah. But definitely, especially if you've got little babies, like that is something that is like would be a must in my cabinet for sure.
Yeah. So we use like for the littler babies. Well, we still use it for the kids. Because when you have little kids, they're not really like most cough syrups and stuff are not like you're not supposed to give those, the little ones cough syrup and things like that because it's like not approved or whatever. So it's kind of nice in a way because you kind of get used to just healing things without turning to that, because you can't. So we use the Zarbee's like natural cough syrup, which basically is just like they have like an elderberry one and everything is honey based and then it's got like herbs and stuff, but it's just natural. And they have one that's for babies under 1 and it's made with agave syrup, I think. Is that what it is? I
think so.
I think. Anyway, so we've always liked that one and it tastes really good. It tastes like really fruity, so the kids like that one.
So I'll just tell you a couple things that are good to have on hand just for multiple whatever ailments or whatever you have for the whole family. Activated charcoal, and like colloidal silver, which the FDA, they don't recommend colloidal silver, which you can use your imagination for why, probably because it works, but that is something that has like multiple purposes and definitely something that I would keep on hand personally. And teas, like I'm not a big like herbal tea drinker, or like if I'm not feeling good, I've never like leaned towards that, but I'm trying to gravitate towards that more. I've got friends that drink a lot of these teas, and they help with a lot of sickness and stuff. Like the Earl Grey black tea, there's all kinds of teas, but a place that if you want to try some and reference that, I know they're like a really good company, is Ro Casa Organics. And I'll link them in the show notes too. I have purchased several products from them now, and I am such a happy customer. I'm on their like Facebook group, and the owner will actually like hop on daily and talk to people and have chats about different things that they're doing within their company and different products they're releasing. But I've been happy with like everything that we have bought. I have like this sinus like nasal spray, instead of using something like over the counter that has lots of yucky stuff in it. Like all their stuff is natural. It's all made in house. Like they do such a good job with their business, and this stuff works. Like I have slowly been building my own personal medicine cabinet with a lot of their stuff. They have lots of like tinctures, which you can make on your own, like syrups and tinctures. My friend Courtney does that. But if you're not comfortable with doing that yet and you don't know a lot about it, they already have some, and cough syrups and things like that if you want to go ahead and have some on hand while you're learning some of this stuff. Because that's like me. Like I'm not comfortable with making my own stuff yet. I'm not really knowledgeable in that area. So until then, I like to have some of their products on hand. And like I said, they have so many things on their website that I feel like you could pretty much cover all of your bases if you have the money and you want to just order. I would order from them. They're like a really good company to buy from too. It's like all family owned.
Okay, so kind of going along with that, what like along with these specific like doTERRA and the different companies that we've mentioned, but where are some places that you can find the more like natural or holistic products for like a reasonable price, or what have you found?
So I haven't ordered like from a ton of companies. And it's just kind of hit and miss. Like you kind of get what you pay for too. And you want to get like the most pure product you can. So you always want to keep that in the back of your mind. But for me, I really feel like Rocasa is very reasonable. And even like doTERRA, like I feel like what you're getting, if you think about what you're going to be spending in a drugstore or at a doctor's office, like I feel like it's more than fair. But there's another place that I've tried is Azure Standard, and I actually started getting lots of like cooking ingredients and stuff too. But they also have like natural remedies and things there that you can buy. And say there was one other place that I had written down. I'll have to find it, but I've bought my garlic oil and my grapeseed oil for like our ears and stuff. I've bought that off Amazon. So you can find things that are basics off of Amazon too. So we can link that, our Amazon link in the show notes as well. But, you know, as far as like buying from a bunch of places, I really haven't. Those are probably the main places I've gone to, other than like local for like elderberry or honey or tinctures or something. So
right.
Here at the Paintbrush Prairie, one of our favorite ways to preserve food is through canning. We talk a lot about it here on the podcast, and we are so excited to share a company with you that we absolutely love and are excited to partner with as homesteaders and homemakers. 4 Jars USA is a family-owned canning lid company. Their canning lids are crafted with utmost care using high-quality metal that resists bending, ensures durability and longevity. To combat the common issue of rusting, they have incorporated stainless steel into their lid composition. Compared to conventional lids with a thickness of 0.10 to 0.12 millimeters, their lids boast a superior metal thickness of 0.18 millimeters. They personally subject their lids to rigorous testing, ensuring their exceptional performance under pressure and during water baths. They stand behind the reliability and strength of all of their lids. Additionally, 4 Jars lids feature high-quality food-grade silicone that effectively prevents leakage, allowing you to confidently preserve your favorite homemade dishes. With their lids, you can savor the authentic taste of your beloved foods for extended periods. We are proud to support and partner alongside 4 Jars USA as an affiliate for their canning lid company. You can use our code PAINT10 for 10% off any order at 4jars.shop.
One thing I forgot to ask you was like, so we talked about kind of like cold and flu remedies. What about like pain relief? We talked a little bit about like the Deep Blue rub. But what do you do for like, you know, instead of taking the Tylenol for your headaches or whatever?
yeah, the Deep Blue I would definitely go for. Well, like I mentioned, the colloidal silver, it was used to treat infections and wounds before like antibiotics became available. So I would definitely use that. Still working on like pain management. I have a pretty high pain tolerance, so anytime I have like a headache or something that hurts, I usually either like tough it out or I try to use like Deep Blue or something topical. But I will say, and I'm not trying to just like plug doTERRA down your throat, but they have come out with Deep Blue in a capsule. And I just started taking those a couple months ago, and I think they're wonderful. My grandmother started taking them because she has like her back aches a lot, and she has even noticed a difference. So I think that's a good alternative for pain management if you want to try it. But as far as like pain things, I don't have a lot of like answers for you on that as far as like taking something internally other than like, you know, things to make things not sting or something for kiddos.
Right.
But yeah. I mean, other than oils, I guess I should say.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
you can always like take oils or put your oils in a vegetable capsule and take them internally. Like that's usually what we do. But you know, if something is bad enough or you have a terrible migraine or something, like I may just resort to an ibuprofen if I have to, but usually I don't.
so I have like major pain issues. I have, it's like cervicogenic, I think is what it's called, headaches. And
Mhm.
so it's like the positioning of my neck and spine. It causes these like massive migraines. So I have to be like really, really careful with like my posture, or when I work out, like making sure that I am doing like recovery and stuff like that after. So basically, I was just going to say, like, as far as pain management, a lot of it for me is like preventative. So, like, really from a deep level, like, not so much, you know, healing it with oils, but like looking at the actual root cause of the things that are giving me
Mhm.
pain. So it's like if I have bad posture, or I'm sitting on a bad chair, or if I am like clenching my jaw or frowning a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I know it sounds so silly, but like if I've been frowning or clenching my jaw, I will get knots like in my scalp, and
Oh.
I have to, like, they will make me physically ill. Like I will be like throwing up. Like I can't, it'll make me nauseous. They're so intense. So it's something I've been managing since I was in my early 20s. And I've just barely started to get a handle on it, but it really is like the preventative stuff. So we have a massage gun that we use.
Mhm.
Like ours is not a Theragun. Ours is called Compex is the brand. But that is one of the best tools, because it has like 3 different heads that you can put on it, and then you can really target like the deep tissues. And I am the kind of person that like I need to go to the massage, like when if I ever get a massage, which is like once in like every 4 years. I like go to the deep tissue massage person, then I'm like, "No,
Mhm.
you're not pushing hard enough. No, that's not hard enough." Like, can you go a little harder? Because it's like I need it like deep.
Yeah.
So the massage gun actually will basically it replaces that, which is really nice. Um and then like I use a lacrosse ball a lot to like roll out my muscles, and I also have a foam roller. And I
I was
mean,
about to say foam roller. Yeah.
I don't know how common this is. When we've talked to like family members about it, they're like, "Oh, what's a foam roller?" So I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if people know about all this stuff, but like, it's like this stuff is like vital. If I didn't have this stuff, I can't like live my life. So like I always roll my muscles out with a lacrosse ball, and I have like a deep tissue foam roller, so it's not just like the normal like flat blue one. It's like got these
Mhm.
crazy knobs on it, and that like
Mhm.
I will massage my back with that because I'll like roll on it, and then what I've figured out is a lot of my problems they I can have problems in the like my neck and my upper back, but it's caused by my lower back, like tension in my
Mhm.
lower back and like pelvis area. So I'll like lay on the foam roller to stretch that out. Like stretching and mobility, I think, are
I
like
need to stretch more.
vital for
Definitely.
health. Like I'm
Yeah.
not like this is not just like for athletes. This is not just for people who, people that work out. It's like everyone should be doing a stretching routine and some kind of mobility every single day, because
Yeah.
it really makes a huge difference. And most people that have chronic pain issues, it is like stemming from being immobile, right? Like
Mhm.
not stretching, not using your body, sitting in the same position every single day and not like, stretching. So those are some things totally natural, I guess. It's not doesn't require medication. It's really just more of like a physical thing to help with pain. But like I use the deep blue rub for my muscles, and because has like the menthol in it.
Yeah.
Um
It kind of has that icy hot effect
yeah, so
a
it
little
it
bit.
like kind of numbs the area. And it also helps with nausea. So if I
Yes.
am sick, like because of my pain, I'll put it like on my shoulder or my neck or whatever, and that will help with my nausea. Another thing that I use is I have a cupping set. Do you know what cupping
Yes.
is? So
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing. Most like it seems like most people are like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, cupping. Hello. So if you don't know what cupping is, it's when they take. You can get it done at a place, or you can just buy a set. I have like a little plastic set, but basically it's like a little bell-shaped cup, and you put it on like your back, and then there's like a little gun looking thing, and it sucks all the air out, and it suctions the cup to your back, and then you leave it on for anywhere from like 5 to 20 minutes, and it helps with like the circulation in the area, and it helps relieve like muscle tension and soreness, and like that has been extremely helpful for me. I'll like cup because I get like a ton of tension in my neck,
Mm-hmm.
like the front and sides of my neck, and so I'll like cup the sides of my neck, and I'll have like these like huge hickey
Hickeys.
marks, like like bruising, because like if you leave them on, sometimes you'll get bruising, which is totally normal. Um, but yeah, it's always funny because it's like you can tell when I've been cupping when I've had like headaches or whatever. But I
Well,
think
and
that's been really helpful.
I completely missed your question on pain management. I was just thinking like internally. Um, I wasn't even thinking
Oh
about
no,
all of
you're
these things
totally fine.
because of course, but like because I'm like I have to go to the chiropractor pretty often. With I have a pretty bad back too, and just issues. And so I'm a big advocate for alignment. So if you can't afford a chiropractor, I know sometimes if you don't have insurance, it's really expensive. Even if you have insurance, it is. Um, but also like my parents have an inversion table, and they also have one at the fire station that I've used. Um, that that has helped me personally before. If you know just can't get to the chiropractor, can't afford it, having an inversion table, if you can invest in one of those where it just kind of you lock your feet in and it flips you, that has helped me a lot. Um, for pain management, a heating pad. A heating pad is like so underrated, I feel like, especially for like menstrual issues, but also um,
Anything.
just pain in general, anything. If you're cold, I'll use a heating pad, you know?
Seriously.
Um, yeah.
That's like my
And then
best
like,
friend. I'm telling you, like I probably use my heating pad like at least 10 days every month just for my neck pain. Like I lay on it and like fall asleep because it's like the only thing that will release my muscles sometimes.
yeah. Well, and as we've been talking, like more things are popping in my head that we use. I should have wrote this stuff down because now it's like, oh my gosh, I forgot to mention. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
But as far as like some immune things that we do, apple cider vinegar. I don't know why this did not pop into my head. But Zach doesn't like it. I'll just shoot it. Regular apple cider vinegar, but I've taken like the Mary Ruth's gummies, apple cider vinegar gummies. I don't think they're bad at all, and he likes those. But we'll take those. And then there's also for the fever thing, and also Epsom salt baths.
Oh yeah.
For
Yeah,
like
for sure.
fevers, aches, tightness. If you've got a cold or flu, like if you're working out and you feel like you're about to break in half because you're
Oh,
all through Epsom salt baths.
yep.
Magnesium baths are really good. And then the wet sock method. Have you heard that
I
for
don't
for
know. I
fevers?
don't
Okay,
I don't
so
think I have.
like if you have a minor fever, they call it wet sock therapy, and you get a pair of socks, get them wet, wring them out, you put them on your feet, and then you put a dry pair over them, and then like if you're about to go to bed, drink a big glass of water, and then like test your fever in 30 minutes. It's supposed to like help decrease it
Hmm.
naturally. So there's also something for like immunity and like help your body detox and get your lymph nodes kind of cleaned out, and that's the castor oil packs. I personally haven't tried those, but I've heard like in some of the homesteading groups that's really helpful. So if you've tried that, let us know, because I'm very intrigued by that. I have tried the magnesium baths, and I've bought my magnesium stuff from Rocasa. I used the whole bag, and I felt like it helped a lot. So try that. Oh, another thing for like antibiotic that I've heard, and I haven't tried it yet either, but we'll probably have to sometime this fall, is the turmeric honey. Did you already talk about that? No, you did the garlic and honey. You did the garlic and honey. So the turmeric and honey, I heard, acts as a natural antibiotic. So something else to write down and try.
Sometimes I'll do, so like Cody and I were taking turmeric for a while, like just because we're working out so much. It's supposed to help with your like pain in your muscles and like recovery. And then like I have like turmeric oil that I'll like put in the bath. And I do like Epsom salt baths quite often because of my pain. And so I'll do like ginger oil, turmeric, and then if I have a really bad migraine, I'll do like peppermint oil just straight up in the bath. And that helps a lot. And then one thing that I don't know if this is like technically considered controversial or not. I don't think it should be, but we recently started trying CBD oil because we have heard a lot of people that really liked it for like anxiety and stuff like that, but also for pain. And my migraines are so serious. If I get one and it's a bad one, I will be laid up in bed for an entire day and I'm like, I can't keep anything down. Like, it's terrible. It's like a flu, but it's a migraine. Like, it's terrible. So I'm like, okay, well, I want something that's like actually going to really like handle this pain. And then, I was having some issues with anxiety and stuff earlier in the year. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to try it just because I want to try it. So Cody and I have been using it, and it has actually replaced ibuprofen for the most part.
Wow.
So, like, if you get like a mild headache, and I mean, you said you kind of tough it out, but like, I can't tough it out because every mild headache just turns into a bad headache for me. So, but if, like, if you need like a more of a mild, like pain reliever, the CBD really, really basically just does the job. And I use like a very high quality CBD oil from a really good company in Colorado. And so we've been really, really happy with that. And it has also helped because they have like sleep gummies that we've tried, and those really help too. So that's just something I wanted to throw out there that's like more on the natural side of things if you're wanting to not take like medications or pills.
Well, and I think people, if they don't know a lot about it, they get scared with CBD. It's THC. You can get THC free, so it doesn't have
right. There's options.
Yes. So just putting that out there too, because I have taken some CBD gummies that obviously don't have the other stuff in it.
Right.
For sleep, because I have a hard time when Zach is at the station going to sleep. And staying asleep, and especially if it's just a stressful time in our lives, like I can't get my brain to shut off and get actual good rest, deep sleep. So I have taken those, and they do really help. They knock me out. So if you don't have like melatonin, or melatonin doesn't work on you, then that's also an option. Our kids have done melatonin before, and it actually, we noticed a pattern, like it was giving my oldest nightmares.
Really?
yeah, I don't know why. And it could have just been maybe something weird and it wasn't associated with it at all. It was just, we noticed a pattern with it. But the best thing that helps with sleep for my kids, honestly, is their sound machine and lavender essential oil. So that's what we use for them. But, and melatonin never really worked for me at all. So the CBD was something that really helped
I think
get some good
melatonin
rest
does
for
the
me.
same thing to Cody, actually, like gives him weird dreams.
Yeah.
Because, so like the gummies that I have been trying, they have melatonin in them, and I don't really need it. I can sleep. Like, on Christmas Vacation where he's like, you wouldn't hear a dump truck driving through a nitroglycerin plant. Like, I am that person. Like, I would sleep through that. Like, I am just a great champion sleeper. So I don't really take them for the melatonin. It was just like I happened to order these because I wanted to get them for Cody because he has a harder time staying asleep. But he
Yeah.
said they like give him crazy dreams. So I think that must be a thing with melatonin.
Yeah. I just need something to like knock me out. Like I sleep hard and I can sleep anywhere. I just need to get to sleep because I'm just like, have so many tabs going on upstairs. Like all the tabs are open and I just can't wind down. So
Right.
that's helped me a lot. Well, I wanted to just touch on a couple things that aren't necessarily for like sickness, but we'll just call it boo-boo bags, or my husband will call it survival bags. But just some things that would be good to build into your cabinet or your home for big emergencies. And one product I wanted to put on there and I'll link is called LifeVac. I actually had a customer that shops with me and has turned into a friend. She asked for my address one day and mailed me one of these. And I think they had an incident with one of their own children. I hope I'm telling the story correctly. But ever since then, she gifts these to friends, just in case of an emergency. And my cousin's little girl actually choked on a piece of steak last week, and I am going to order her one because she actually drove her to the fire station for Zach to check her out. But so a life vac for choking. I put an EpiPen just for some crazy dire emergency, like saline peroxide, all sizes of bandages. We use vet wrap for all kinds of things, not just our animals, but vet wrap is awesome. A blood pressure cuff. Obviously, you're probably going to have a thermometer. And we were laughing earlier before this started, but these are Zach's suggestions, my husband, the firefighter EMT. Probably Cody, the paramedic's suggestions too. My husband puts duct tape on there. He says, hey, it serves all kinds of purposes. I laughed, but I was thinking, medical tape, but no, Zach says duct tape. Shears, super glue, and a tourniquet, which you can have a homemade tourniquet. We all know how to use one, how to make one, but if you have a nice tourniquet, you put that on there. So anyways, those are just some suggestions for bigger things and that you might want to have to build in there eventually. So
I just think it's
get
hilarious.
you some duct tape.
I think it's hilarious because like both of our husbands, I mean, like we mentioned, Cody was a firefighter paramedic. And so like they both think of these things. Like we have a very large first aid kit and we have like, this is the other thing that most people don't think about, but like, yes, you need to have one in your house and you need to have all the supplies together in the same spot. And everyone in the family needs to know where all the supplies are.
Yep.
And then you need to have one in your vehicles.
In your car. Yep.
And
we
most
have
people
one in the
don't
car.
think of that. So you need to have all the same things, including a tourniquet, especially in your vehicle. And the shears is a great one because most like normal people don't think about this, but like the paramedic, EMT people think about this. But
they have that emergency mindset.
Yeah, if you have like a major injury, like you're not going to take the time to unbutton someone's shirts or like unzip their pants. Like you need to cut those babies off. You know what I mean? Like you got to have some good scissors. But the tourniquet is like, I would say like number one. Every single family needs to have one because that is life or death. If you do not
Yeah.
have some kind of tourniquet, it doesn't have to be, like she said, it doesn't have to be a fancy one, just something where you can keep the blood from flowing, right?
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, like our husbands build our own, but they have lots of like good emergency kits already built and ready to go to get you started on Amazon that are very affordable. So I've even gotten one of those just to throw in the car. Because like she said, like we have one in every vehicle. Like we were prepared. Like even the tool that will cut your seatbelt and you just tap your window and bust your window open. Like we even have that right, like easily accessible in our car. So those are just little things that you may not think about. But you might want to, especially if you have like a kid who's about to turn 16, like they need to have these things in their car. So just wanted to put that in there, and we'll link these things too in the show notes.
Yep. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up right there since we've gone well over an hour. But I hope that this is helpful to you guys, and let us know what kinds of things that are like vital in your household, things that you make sure that you're stocked up with for the winter.
Yeah, and we would love tips too. Like we're constantly learning, so we would love to hear what helps you guys.
All right. Have a great week, and we'll be back with you soon. Thank you for listening to the Paintbrush Prairie podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you don't mind, would you please leave us a rating and review?
This will help more ladies find us, and it will help us make the show even better. If you know a fellow Western homemaker who would enjoy the podcast, will you please share it with them?
If you'd like to support the podcast, you can become a patron at patreon.com/paintbrushprairie. You can follow us on Instagram at paintbrushprairie.
You can find me, Kinsey, on Instagram at @farmgirl and my blog, farmgirlblogs.com, to see what I'm up to on the ranch, Western home inspiration, or subscribe to my meal plan subscription at farmgirlblogs.com/hayfield-meals. You can also shop for unique Western goods at my rural boutique and general store, farmgirlboutique.com.
You can follow me, Talia, on Instagram at The Pinion Range or my Western art page at Wapiti Sage Design. You can also purchase my artwork or book a custom piece at wapitisagedesign.com. I also blog over at thepinionrange.com, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel where I share the behind the scenes of my life as a Western artist and homesteader.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. See you next time from the Paintbrush Prairie.